Good morning everybody, my name is James Cook, welcome to my vlog. I'm guessing some of you already know this about me, but I like solar. Pop that out because it's a nice sunny morning. And also I've got a little one over here, just charging up. I can use those to charge my phone and tablet and stuff like that. It doesn't generate a lot of power, but it's a little bit. Every little helps, or does it? Okay, let's walk dogs. I'm seriously regretting wearing a coat. It's actually really pleasant weather. Oh, right, let's go grab a quick coffee and that will bring the dog walking to an end, and then we can crack on with solar and why it really isn't for everybody. And I really want it to be for me. Love our local coffee shop. Oh, makes the dog walks so much better. Hate it Mondays and Tuesdays because they're closed. Is this thing charged yet? Yes, more or less. So I'll charge my phone from this and yeah, it'll be solar powered for at least a day or two. Great little solar panel this, 24 watts, got it from Amazon. Charges up that battery pack in a couple of hours. The bigger one won't be finished yet. That's a 40 watt solar panel and it does take a good sort of day to fill the 150 watt hour battery from empty to full. A bunch of years ago I also made some old lead acid battery based solar generators. So these are sort of own brand. See, sealed lead acid batteries, a little solar panel on top, little charge controller. And you can obviously plug in bigger panels as well if you've got them. Same sort of thing here, just with twice as many of these lead acid batteries. And this one, it's got a built-in 150 watt pure sine wave inverter as well. Haven't had these things on charge actually for ages, so just give them a quick zap I think while the sun's out. These two are enormously heavy though. Yep, I think it's fair to say I love solar. So you might be wondering, why doesn't my house have solar panels on it? And basically there's a bit of a problem with solar and the UK in that we have a lot of quite old properties and we have planning laws that mean that you can't really do anything that alters the external appearance of those old properties. And that means that for a significant proportion of the housing stock, it's not possible to put solar panels on the roof, which I think is really annoying because at the end of the day, the thing about solar panels is it's not like destroying the roof. You're not going to change the fabric of the building particularly. You just move a couple of tiles, keep them somewhere safe, put your solar panels on there, and then if the next owner wants to remove the solar panels, you just take them away and put the tiles back. It's pretty simple. It doesn't damage the fabric of the building for the most part. So, okay, half this house is thatch and the other half is sort of the Tuscan wavy tile thing. I wouldn't put solar panels on the thatch. I don't think that's a good idea. I wouldn't do it even if I could. But I would absolutely put solar panels on this thing, which is a nice south-facing slope. I could easily get 3 or 4 kilowatts on there, I reckon, and that would be enough to generate a significant proportion of the power that the house uses. And don't forget, the house also runs my electric car, so yeah, it would be a great thing to do. It wouldn't damage the property, don't see why you can't do it. Listed building consent says no. Although I haven't actually asked on this property. The barn that I used to live in, that was in the curtilage of a listed building, so it was like one of the listed building's outhouses originally, which meant that it was included in that listing, which meant that also listed buildings consent says no. You know, and that was really annoying because that place, I could have put 8 kilowatts of solar panels on the roof there. Combined with a power wall, we would have generated far more power than we'd used over the year. Even running the car, it would have been amazing. But, you know, can't do it. And this whole video has been prompted by an article that I saw on the BBC News website, which is basically tackling this problem. It was a company that did a sort of solar ornament for the garden, really. I think it's unfortunately for slightly bigger gardens than we've got here, so I don't know if that would really work for us. And they also mentioned something about solar blinds, which I thought was pretty cool. I suspect perhaps the solar blind one might actually cause a problem with the planning permission. In fact, now I think about it, even the solar ornament might actually cause some trouble with the planning permission. It's very annoying. So what's the solution? I suppose, well, the silly solutions are to do nothing, which is a silly solution because we're going to use a load of power like everyone else does in the West, and you know, the power's got to come from somewhere, and as it turns out, we don't want to be getting it from Russia at the moment, do we? So yeah, that's I think a pretty silly solution. The other silly solution, which is the one that I sign up to, is having all things like my little solar generators that I dot around the garden. That, you know, I mean, I think fully charged, the big one will save me something like 2p if I leave it out in the sun all day long and then use all the power in it. So, and I'm probably being generous there, so it's not even going to pay for the investment of the product, is the truth. But what it does do is it gives me a bit of, you know, autonomous, you know, some self-reliance in terms of power generation, you know, if there was a power cut, something along those lines. And it's also very good for teaching people what uses power and what sort of quantity you can get from what amount of solar panel. I mean, that's the truth. Solar panels are like magic. They really are. You know, instead of a great big power station that burns stuff and pollutes and has a giant steam turbine that, you know, whizzes at like 10,000 RPM and produces huge quantity. It's not a massive, great infrastructure project. It's a piece of glass that you just stick somewhere in the sunlight and out comes electricity. Literally, it's magic. But where to stick them? Well, there is another solution that I'm thinking I might do. I'm going to try with the planners and see if they'll accept something on my roof, but if they won't, I'm going to get some solar panels and put them on little casters and just dot them around the back of the garden. And if anyone comes and says, well, you can't do that in the grounds of a listed building, I'll just say, oh, no, I can, because it's just temporary. I'll just wheel them away while you're here, and when you go, I'll get them back out again. And that should be okay. But obviously it's a bit of a faff. I might also get a power wall. I'd like to do that, and that way I could put myself on an overnight tariff where it's much cheaper overnight, fill it during the night and use the power during the day. It's going to be a little bit annoying because I could just charge the car during the night as well, which would make sense, but I like to charge the car so that it's always at sort of sitting on the drive at 70%. That way, if I need to just drive off quickly and go get my son or whatever in a sort of emergency fashion, I never have to think, oh, I don't have much range. I'll always have the ability to do 150 emergency miles no matter. And of course the last sort of silly solution in my opinion is just having you know, these garden ornaments. Now, what's the sensible solution? That seems like a good question to answer. Well, to my mind, the sensible solution is obviously just to let people put solar panels on listed buildings, provided you are not damaging the building in an irreversible way or a difficult to reverse way. I might even change the law to say, look, you can put solar panels on the building, but you have to remove them in order to sell it. And that way, it always gets reset to how it should look, sort of periodically. And then if the new owners want to put the panels back, they can do that. That would be a way of doing it and ensuring that not all beautiful listed buildings just had solar panels plastered all over the roof. But ultimately, I think the people that are sort of, you know, no, you can't do that, it's going to ruin the view. Those are the kind of people that, in my opinion, have a completely valid opinion, provided they also don't use electricity. So it's fine. No solar panels, you can have your nice view. I won't put solar panels on my roof, but I do want you disconnected from the grid. Because why should you use power if your view is more important than the power, you know, being generated? You know, we all have to do our little bit here. I would quite happily do my bit. I've got plenty of real estate on the roof with which to put some solar panels. It's time for everyone to do a little bit of give and take, is what I think. And this is sort of supported by something else that I read on the BBC News about planning permission getting a little bit easier, apparently. They were a bit short on details, so we'll see if anything actually happens from this. But I think it would be great if it did. Apparently the government thinks that if they do relax the planning rules a little bit, I don't know if they're specifically talking about listed buildings or not, probably not, knowing our government and the lack of intelligence, but nonetheless, Apparently they think they could boost the amount of solar that can be generated across the country by as much as 5 times by 2035 if they relax those planning rules. And I absolutely think they should. I actually think they should relax the planning rules for, you know, proper solar installations in fields and stuff like that, because ultimately when you put solar in a field, it's a very different thing to the environment versus building another form of power generation other than perhaps wind. But even then, you know, the thing is, you can still have sheep graze around between the solar panels. There's still grass, you still get wildflowers between the solar panels. In a lot of ways, it's actually very good for nature, better for nature than just having industrialized farming in that field. And you generate a load of power so that the local village doesn't need to really draw much from the grid. Most of the time. Obviously, winter is the big exception in this country, and industrialized power storage is obviously something that we're going to need to work out. But that is a topic for another video. Just check my little solar panel, see how we're doing. Wouldn't be surprised if it was full by now, actually, because fair amount of sunlight out and about. Yep, it's full. So that will keep my tablet charged for a couple of days as well. And then I can save those pennies. One day I am confident that I will actually have solar power panels on my house, or in my house, or around my house, like proper ones. Just have to be patient, I guess. Just keep on plugging away at it. Well, I hope you've all enjoyed today's vlog post and found it interesting. If you have, remember to leave a like, share it, and subscribe if you haven't already. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter if you like. The links are in the description. I want to say a big thank you to my Patreon supporters. You guys are awesome. I'll see you all in the next episode of my vlog. Bye!